I just got back from the GAMA Expo that was held in Reno, Nevada, and I'm excited to talk about my top 3 favorite games that I saw there, which are coming out soon. Hello and welcome to Nelson All Over. Today we are talking about the top 3 games that I saw at the GAMA Expo held in Reno, Nevada. Now the GAMA Expo is a conference that is held every year from the Game Manufacturing Association, and it's a professional organization which hosts the GAMA Expo, which is more of a industry focused event, as well as the Origin Game Fair, which is happening here in just a couple of weeks, so that's going to be exciting. It's a really great conference to attend if you're in the industry or wanting to dive into it. That being said, I got to play a lot of new games, met some amazing people, and strengthened some existing relationships that I already had. I had a blast and I'm excited to talk to you about my 3 favorite games I saw there, which are coming out soon. I want to dive right into it because I am really excited about all 3 of these games, so let's talk about number 3, which is Drift. So Drift is designed by James Allen and is being published by Good Games Publishing. This is a racing game, and I don't do a lot of racing games, and so this was kind of fun. We played this at one of the board game bars that is located about a couple miles from the actual convention hall that we were at, and it was a really fun game. I was a little skeptical just because I played like Formula D before, and that's kind of my only... Oh, I guess like Pitch Car as well, but Formula D was my only like gamified racing game that I played that wasn't a dexterity game. And so I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite type of game, but Drift was so cool. Drift was way more of a puzzle than I thought it was going to be. So in this game, you're racing around like a formula track, trying to drift around corners to score some points and use those points for power-ups, and whoever makes it the furthest across the finish line wins the game. And it has some really fun puzzly decisions. The way that it works is you have your 5 gears, and those correspond with lengths of track that you can lay down, and that's how far your car will go. You get to lay down 5 pieces of track during your turn. So if you lay down 5 1-gear tracks, you're not going very far. You're moving just very, very slightly. However, if you are going 5-gear tracks, you are flying. However, you can't run into the walls. You can't go across the grass without incurring some sort of penalty. And so you have to make sure that you are able to shift up and shift down, which you can do once in between each piece. So like if you're in gear 3, you can go up to a 4 or down to a 2 or stay in a 3 and map it out so that you can make it around these sharp turns. And the other really cool thing is that each of the gears, the lower the gear that you are, the less you're going, but the more maneuverability you have. So the level 1 gear does not go very far, but you're able to turn very significantly, so you can make it a way around your tight turns. Then you have the drift pieces. So if you're in 2nd gear, you can drift around the corner, which are these different tokens that have it kicks out your back end of the car, can really arrange you in like a correct orientation so that you can take off. But also if your tail of your car is in like the drift zone of the turn, you get points, and then you can spend these points on power-ups. Some of the power-ups are like you can place another piece of track for like 6 points. You can get extra time because you only have, I think it was a minute, maybe it was 2 minutes to place all your 5 pieces. So you can rearrange however you want, but once you run out of time, the piece that you have in your hand is the last one you can place. And so now you can spend some points to get another, I think it was 60 seconds, another 60 seconds. So you can, map it out a little bit more, but it does keep the game flowing, which is really nice. That timer does. And it's just really fun because you can drift a lot, get the points, and hopefully, nitro boost your way to victory later in the game. Or you can take the corner really tight, not getting those points, but really try and get out ahead of the pack of the car. I had a ton of fun with this one. I am really excited to play some more of this. We played kind of like the beginner track, which was fun, and it was really interesting. They had a really cool tutorial to kind of get around the first 2 turns, to learn the drift mechanism, to understand exactly how far and how much you can turn. And so that was very much appreciated, or else I think we all would have just kind of like collided with the wall on that first turn. But I was really happy with Drift. Pumped to see some of the new tracks. And for a prototype, the pieces were very, very well constructed. And so I'm really excited to see that final production, and Drift is definitely going to be on my radar coming up later this year. Number 2 was Expeditions. So this is the new game coming out from Stonemaier Games, and it's designed by Jamie Stegmaier. This is set in the world of Scythe, and it gives also off a very Scythe-like vibe, but it is not Scythe. It's a very different game. just set in the same world. It's almost like a sequel is kind of how I've seen it described online. But the core of this game, or the theme of this game, is that a massive meteorite has like crashed in the north part of the map, and it's causing corruption to take over the land, and your goal is to explore the land and gain the most victory points before like 4 stars are placed. So it has the same game end trigger as Scythe, where X number of stars have to be placed. In Scythe it's 6, in Expeditions it's 4, but the flow in this game is a lot better in my opinion. So a couple of things that lead into that. There's micro turns, meaning that your turns are very short and very snappy, which helps the flow of the game go around the table very easily. We were sitting in a 5-player game, which would be my one critique about the game. I don't think I would play it at 5 again. 5 felt a lot. The map was very, very busy. I think I would prefer this game at like a 2 or 3-player count. That being said, I loved the play at 5, but the micro turns, even with 5 people on the table, if I took my turn, I did not have time to like run somewhere else, have a conversation, and come back. If I left the room, when I came back, it was my turn again. And the way that those turns look is you sit there, you move a cube onto one of 3, maybe actually 4 spaces. So there's move, which you're moving your mech around. You can play cards from your hand or gather, and whatever action that cube is on, you take the other 2 actions. So if your cube is on the play cards, you will move and gather. You can gather from the spot you started on, or you can move to a new spot and gather from that spot. This feels more like an engine building game than Scythe, which if you know anything about me, you know that that's very, very exciting, and I love Scythe, but I actually do think that this game will, or let me say it in conservative terms, this game has the potential of being a better game than Scythe. I struggle to say that I like this game more after one play and after I played Scythe like 20 to 30 times. That being said, this game is smooth and really cool. It has a lot of different strategies to explore because you have these cards that you're playing from your hand, which is the play action, and you can activate those with workers, which you can gather from different tiles. And so you play a card, you take the action, or you can use those cards to either tuck them in a specific spot on your player mat, which gives you a passive bonus or game in scoring. So like one of the cards that you can tuck gives you a heart, which is similar to Scythe, where it's a multiplier on the number of stars that you have. And then the stars, I think, is the best improvement from Scythe, in my opinion. Again, very different games, but there are similarities. Whereas in Scythe, as soon as you accomplish one of those objectives, you get to place the star, which could lean into some sneaky gameplay, and you can throw 4 stars in a turn and win the game, and that can be feel bad. That can be feel bad. However, in this game, it's a gather. It's an action on a tile in order to place a star. So you can complete the objective. Maybe it's have 8 cards in play. You can complete that. However, if you don't go to the action and gather and do the boast action, you don't get to place the star. And so the game end comes about a little bit more transparent, and you can kind of plan and make sure you're, okay, so Roberto's within striking distance, but he needs to get to this tile in order to boast and place his star. I'm gonna go block that tile because it is only 1 mech per tile that you can be on. And so there's a little bit of blocking and some of that strategy. Really cool, really well designed game. I'm very excited. I believe it's a Gen Con launch or maybe a summer launch. And I am so pumped to play this again. I think at 5 is a little bit much, but at like 2 to 4 players, there will be different strategies. The board size is not variable, just like it is not in Scythe. And so a 5-player game in Scythe is very different than a 2-player game in Scythe, and you're just gonna have to adjust your strategies in Expeditions as well. And that's what I'm really excited about. I think in a 2-player game, you can knock this game out in probably 45 minutes once everyone knows what they're doing. And it's gonna be a fun one to pull out and play. Last thing that I will say, Boardvengers is publishing a first impression video, so that's gonna be me, McKay, and Roberto are doing a video that is going to be on that channel within the next week or so. So you can check the link out for that channel below. And if the video is out, hopefully that video, the first impression video, will also be linked. So go ahead and check that out because we talk about it a little bit more in depth, and you can kind of get a feel for how 3 very different players who have different play styles enjoy the game. So that's Expeditions. And then finally, my favorite game that is coming out at Gen Con, that we got to play and preview is going to be Lorcana. So this is the new Disney TCG coming from Ravensburger, designed by Ryan Miller and Steve Warner. This is, I like card games. I have an entire channel, Nelson All Over Cards, that's dedicated to card games. I love Disney. Disney is such an incredible IP. So when these two meld together, I was very excited. I was interested in how I was going to play, and after playing it, I am so excited for this game. So it's a head-to-head game where there is a multiplayer version, but we only played head-to-head. I'm not 100% sure how the multiplayer version is going to work, but I do think just kind of normally it's going to be in that head-to-head format. But it's a head-to-head format where you're racing to 20 points. So I think they're lore. And what is nice about that is even though it's head-to-head, it's not a I win if I destroy you or if I kill you, which there is some inherent stress in a game like a Magic the Gathering or a Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's a direct confrontation where you're reducing life points to 0. This is a little different, right? So this, you're racing to 20 lore. Now you can challenge other players and remove characters that are obtaining that lore from other players. However, it's not the win condition. If you wipe their board, the game is not over. You have to still race to that 20 lore. And in that sense, I think it's going to be a fun, less stressful version of a lot of these TCGs or CCGs that we've seen. And it's going to be a really approachable one. That's the goal of Lorcana, is to have a TCG that is very approachable, easy to come into. If you've never played a trading card game, if you've never played this type of game before, then it's going to be very approachable. Excellent theme. The art is incredible. The art is so good. And I'm so very pumped for this because you have all of the not all the characters yet, but like, you know, the core one is going to have certain number of characters. You can have Mickey Mouse going up against Ariel, and you see how those work. And then the way that it works is you exert the character, you rotate the character, you exhaust the character, tap the character, if you're familiar with Magic terms, in order to either challenge another character. That character also has to be exerted. You can exhaust them to quest. I think that's the terminology. I'm not 100% sure on the terminology yet, but you could quest and get you those points. So each character is going to have like a quest value or a wisdom value or a lore value. Again, whatever. So you can exert to get like 2 points to that 20, or you can use it, and this is my favorite part of the game so far. There are song cards, which are action cards. They're song. So if you have a 5-cost song card, you can take any character that costs 5 or more, exert it to sing the song, and you get to play it for free. And so it's just like a really cool theme into mechanics synergy that I am going to be so thrilled about. Now, it is a TCG, and TCGs can be a little hard to dive into because what that means is that you're going to be buying packs of cards, and the cards in that pack are randomized. So you don't necessarily know what you're buying. And so there is a level of completionist that could be an issue if you are like me. However, this game feels like it's going to be fun regardless of if you have the best deck out there or not, just because of the theme and the way that the gameplay goes. And so I'm so excited for Lorcana. It will be a game that I will be picking up at Gen Con, and I'm excited to see all of the characters. I think about half of the set is spoiled at this point. And so all the characters in set 1, how they all interact with each other, and it's going to be a game that I'm going to be very much looking forward to playing later this year. Alrighty, and those are the top 3 games that I saw and played at GAMA this year. There are other games that I played, and I will talk about those at some other point, but I wanted to get out a video about the top 3 and share the excitement that I had with these games with you all. So out of these 3, which one is the most exciting for you? Are you excited about one of these more than the other? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read and interact with those with you. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. I will see you around. Peace.